Alright, so a while ago, a friend of mine by the name of Falling Sheep uploaded a video called 42 Building Ideas for Magenta Glazed Terracotta. The reason he did that was because he asked, well, me for, a specific block. I chose Magenta Glazed Terracotta because I think it's a pretty neat block. And then the number, I chose 42. He then decided that that was what the video idea is going to be. He's going to use 42 ideas to make with Magenta Glazed Terracotta. However, imagine my horror when I looked at the video and I saw that's the same building! Are you kidding me? That last four was just the block in different directions. You gotta be joking me. I was so excited to see the building ideas, and then I was met with just the same building turned around 4 times. I was upset. Actually, I asked him if he could, provide a couple more build ideas, considering the fact that some of them were literally just the exact same building but turned around. He did not comply. And therefore, I present to you actually 42 building ideas using Magenta Glazed Terracotta. 42 separate, unique ideas where the blocks aren't just randomly turned around. Alright, let's jump into it. First off, I have this. You can see that there are some very interesting designs you can make with Magenta Glazed Terracotta if you don't actually look at the block. So every single one of these corners has like a different design. If I peel back the curtain a bit, you can see how it works. And that's how you get like a cool little design. Then next up, I have a magenta banner, which looks pretty cool. I did get this idea from Shovel241. If you know him, he's a pretty good builder. I did change it a little bit, but like the idea to have a banner like this came from over there. So if you like this design, then show love to the correct person. Next up, you have a little pillar. You can have him in a pillar. You can have him either up or down, depending on what you like. But I've noticed that if you have the arrow pointing up, you automatically look up. So if you're trying to get the people who look at your building to look up, this is a great way, because these arrows are a really good way to point your direction in a specific way. Next up, if you're building a little pink or magenta house, you can use it really nice as like a way to divide 2 sections of your build with this cute pattern over here. Then next up, we have a force field. If you have like a little cool force field, like you're trying to get people out of your build or whatever, working with glass works really well, but you can add a little bit of motion by adding the Magenta Glazed Terracotta. Because like I said, these blocks are really good for pointing your direction in a certain way. Next up, we have a what's it called? Cyberpunk-esque build. These work really well in like a sort of factory-like setting. And because I want to drive home the point that it works really well in a cyberpunk thing, I spent money. Got a shader pack. Look at these. Look how good these look. They're glowing. That's because of the end results, but let's not worry about that. They're glowing. This is actually kind of cool. I kind of like it like this, but you do need to have like the cool shader packs that do this. And if you don't have them, then unfortunately, this isn't a great option. All right, next up, I have a cool beam. If you want to have a magenta-like beam shooting through a wall, then these work really well as like cracks. You can see if like it points all kind of direction, makes it look like there's like a magenta crack going on there, going through this wall. Very cool, very neat. Next up, you can use them as roof gradients. So the very obvious thing you can use with it is you can use it as signs, and you can also use them as like pointy signs if you have like a racing game. And this one is slightly more versatile. I have one with player heads as well, which you can rotate a lot better. So you can get like, they can curve around. Next up, I have the normal roads look very bland, very boring. So if you want a more colorful road, you can use them as crossings, as like I don't really know what these are called, the stripes. I don't know what they're called in English. Next up, you can use them as like a trowel. You can see there's only one. I don't know what happened to the others, but there were more. You can use them as like a trail of a path that like an arrow or something like that follows. Next up, you can have them in the eyes. Like you can see, my dragon has them in their eyes. It makes it look for it from far away. Look at it from far away, kinda looks like it's like a little slit in the eye. Next up, we have a flame. You can see it if you have like a little lantern. If you want to have like a pink lantern, it works really well to kind of showcase the chaos of the fire going in all sides of directions. Next up, you have this points this way. Because it's kind of supposed to be like if you have like an airplane and it goes out of like a hangar or something like that. That's what this is supposed to be. And it kind of points the directions like, oh, if you're like flying, you would go that way. Next up, I have an empty lot. I'm joking. It's up here. It's supposed to be like a magenta rift. Like it shows like a big rift in the sky, and it works really well at like the end of like a rift to showcase they're like still forming. And it's like growing. Next up, I have a mural on a wall. You can have it as like a snake-like design. And if I have to start over here, you can kind of very quickly see which way it's going because the arrows are pointing that way. Works pretty well. Next up, you can have it in a storage room. But look at it. If you point at the different chests, it works kind of nice. Actually, I like it a lot. You can also use it for flowers. The end of like the leaves, it kind of gives it a little bit more texture. You can also use it on a butterfly to make butterfly patterns. I did not make this butterfly, by the way. This was made by a person on Reddit called Bianiki. I, for the life of me, could not build a butterfly, which is why I just joined the design. So again, show love to the correct person. Next up, we have a frog. If you use it in his tongue, use it in his tongue, you can kind of simulate that it's still in motion, because it's like actively going that way. Next up, you can use it if you're building a tie. It's a cool little tie design. It can also do that. How about that? Next up, you can use it in trees. If you use a lot of different chaotic, fully textured blocks, it really gives a cool effect on the tree. You can use them in claws as like the little endings, like it makes it more pointy. Next up, you can use it in a big billboard, and you can see it's a big billboard because it says big. I think this also works better with the shaders. Let me try it out. Nah, that's a billboard right there. Look at it. That is a big billboard. Next up, you can use it as like a little goop. If it like it's like spilled from like a cup, or actually in hindsight, I probably should have used like a potion. It makes more sense if there's goop coming from a potion than a beer mug, but oh well. This little goop coming in, you can see, like I did with the frog tongue, it's really good at simulating motion, as it's like still, it gives a little bit of an effect, like it's still flowing down. Next up, I have this little guy. It kind of looks like a chicken. This is like the beak, and then we have like the wings, and this is a banner, and like 2 eyes, and some, like a little mohawk thingy. It's a little chicken guy. If you want to make a magenta chicken, there you go. Then next up, I have a book. You can use it as a book cover. If you're building like a big book, you can use it as a nice cover. Next up, you can use it as spots on a mushroom. Next up, I have a design such as this, which credit goes to Koobs. He came up with this. He helped me out with a bunch of these designs because I was struggling. If you have a design like this, it works really well on like a staircase. It's a very nice little railing staircase thingy you can have going on. Have a thing such as this one. Let me show you how cool this is. If you step on it, boop, it kind of like shoots you in a direction. If you position yourself correctly, you should get shot all the way around. It's very reminiscent of like in Pokemon, where you had like the Team Rocket puzzles. We'd have like these things that shoot you in a certain direction. That's what these are supposed to be emulating. And credit goes to Big Puppy Gaming, because I yoinked a data pack from him that allows me to set motion. Next up, you can have it in a redstone contraption. By doing this, you can select which door you want opened, which works really nice. Now you might be wondering, hey, Sai, can't I also do that with anything else that has an arrow-like design? No. You have to use Magenta Glazed Terracotta if you want to do that. You can use it for a little graph. This graph particularly shows my interest in the Magenta Glazed Terracotta block as time goes on. You see like there's time going on this axis, and on this axis we have my interest in the block. You can see it's going way up because look how much stuff I now can build with Magenta Glazed Terracotta. Great block. All right, moving on. You can use it in a bedroom design. If you only use like the bottom portion of the block, it's a very cool like top section. And credit goes to Creep and J. I did completely yoink this design from him. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. I couldn't think of a lot of them. I could have think of like a lot of designs, so I did yoink a couple from some people. Because this is to showcase like 42 designs. It's to help people with build ideas, right? I don't have to be the one that thinks of all of them. All right, moving on. You can use them in like, if you have like a cat-like build. If you have like cat ears, you can use them as like little cat fluff. This does only work if you have a pink cat, but just build your cat pink. All right, next up, I have a cool floor design. It's, if you look at it from the top, you can see it has like a very nice little, it shows, it does direct your attention to the middle, which is what you want from a floor like this. So that's what I want. Like I said, these arrows are really great at pointing your direction in the direction you want them to point. Next up, I have another wall design. Again, credit goes to koobs for this one. It's kind of like a stretched out star. I don't really know what you would do this with, which, because like all these other things I kind of placed in a building, I didn't know what to do with this. The only thing I can really think of is like have like a mural on a wall. But yeah. Stretched out star. Next up, it works really well if you have a blade. And you can see the blade over here. It points in the outward direction. Really gives it like more of a sharper edge on the edge part of a pink magenta like blade. Next up, we're taking a little trip because our next section involves this. These are, you might have seen these in like shorts or of people building these. There's a like big mural which like makes a huge picture. I chose one of my thumbnails because I didn't have another picture, and you can see that the magenta glazed terracotta kind of acts as like a glowing, you can see it there over here, and they're also on the arrow point. It kind of acts as like if you want to make like a purple glow effect specifically on a white surface. If you want something purple glowing on a white surface in a big store like creation, you would use magenta glazed terracotta. Works pretty well. I think it looks like it's a pretty good glow. All right, moving on. You can use it as a input screen, because specifically this one, I have it so that the way these are pointing is the way the little guy moves. Next up, I have over here a conveyor belt. And you can see it works really well because if it's already pointing in the direction it wants to go. This gives like a real cool conveyor belt like idea. Next up, I have over here a trident, and it works extremely well as little points of a trident. So if you want to have specifically a magenta trident build and not any other color, you can use magenta glazed terracotta for that. And last but not least, I have for you a magenta elevator. This works really well because magenta glazed terracotta, or any glazed terracotta for that matter, doesn't get stuck on slime. So you can use it like this, and because you're in an elevator, it shows the direction you're going. Now there might be a problem here. You might ask yourself, like, what if I want to go down? Do I have to change the entire build? And the solution to this is just don't ever go down. You go up once, you enjoy that, and then you never use this build ever again. That's how you do it. That's how you solve that problem. All right, 42 magenta glazed terracotta designs that are way better than Sheep's designs. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted to do here. That's all I wanted to showcase. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching the video. Goodbye now.